Welcome everyone to the Hurting Humanity channel. This is almost laughable, and everything that's going on in California is not laughable. It is a very serious matter. There are a lot of civilians, just like in many of these war, quote unquote, scenarios that are affected by this. Civilians are under attack. And what we're seeing coming out of Los Angeles is frightening, but I'm giggling because what I'm seeing is a common theme and a common pattern here that might actually just make everybody out there who sees this video laugh and become suspicious, and that's why I'm doing it. So what we're seeing right now is Los Angeles burning, right? Hollywood burning. And let's just start with this narrative that you may not have been paying attention to with Hollywood and how people were leaving Hollywood based off politics. This was all a psychosis they were putting in the minds of the people. Actors saying that there's too many libs in Hollywood, conservative actors leaving like Mark Wahlberg, all of these people who are all in on it together, just like the politicians are in on it together. And they told us that Las Vegas was going to become Hollywood 2.0. And they literally meant that they were going to be moving Hollywood, California to Las Vegas. They were going to be moving production centers, production companies, sets, all that kind of stuff that is needed to create Hollywood, which of course has to continue on because it's an integral part in this mind control experiment that is going on in the United States of America and around the world. But really in America, we're seeing mind control really just controlling the thoughts, the emotions, the trends, everything that's going on in society. So they couldn't burn Hollywood to the ground without at least getting it set up elsewhere so they can continue production and continue mind control business as usual. So years, after the outbreak, we started hearing of people leaving because of some of the restrictions being put in place and some of the politics, right? So Mark Wahlberg and many others ditched Hollywood, went to Vegas, and they've been building out large production studios in Las Vegas. So now, all of a sudden, what we're seeing is horror in Los Angeles. How convenient that Hollywood studios have already been building out in Las Vegas as if maybe they knew something ahead of time. And of course, that's the point of the videos. Of course, these people knew ahead of time. Have you noticed how over the top these celebrities have been since the fire started? Have you noticed how they're all going out of their way while these fires are occurring around them, while their own homes are burning to the ground, to make sure that they go on the news, to make sure that you see that it's not just, it's all of us. Hey, you might not like Hollywood right now and you might not like us celebrities, but we're victims too. Please don't be suspicious of us that we're surviving this, kind of like what happened in Maui, right? Remember in Maui how everyone was looking and then they were saying, hey, Oprah's house didn't burn, Zuckerberg, the PayPal guy, all these people, their homes didn't burn. How come it was just the regular people whose homes were burning when all these celebrities and millionaires live on Maui, right? Well, this is the result of that. They saw how people responded. And now you're seeing all of these celebrities like Jamie Lee Curtis, right? While the fires are literally occurring, Jimmy Kimmel didn't cancel his show for the fires, right? He didn't cancel it. They continued on. Jamie Lee Curtis, who of course I've covered in the past for that creepy photo of a child in a suitcase that she displays prominently on her wall or his wall, went on the show and talked about how she was going to donate $1 million. Does this sound familiar? Did you even know that there was a charity set up already? Well, of course, because they're trying to save face. Just like last time when The Rock and Oprah came out with their charity and everybody rejected it because they said, this is ridiculous. Why didn't your house burn? Why are you out here telling us to give money when you guys are worth billions and billions of dollars? But they're using somewhat of the same script, right? So Jamie Lee Curtis is talking about how devastated he is about everything that's happening around her wall in her makeup, his makeup, in a dress, on a show, in front of millions of people, pretending to be emotional about it, talking about how I'm going to give $1 million to the wildfire fund, right? And then if you haven't seen this might be the most laughable thing that you'll see, right? Because they don't expect you, again, to notice patterns. They expect you to tune in to your local news station, tune out, go on your social media accounts, listen to your favorite celebrities. Oh my gosh, my house burned, right? Look at this pattern here. This is Steve Guttenberg. For anyone out there that's wondering, this is an actor, famous actor, somewhat famous, not really, not in today's world, but very prominent in the 80s and 90s, was in some films. I believe 3 Men and a Baby was one of them off the top of my head, if I recall. Of course, Guttenberg. What more do you need to know about why Steve's house survived and Steve's okay? And Steve, of course, is out there being a hero. Look on your screen at the amount of news clips that Steve is in. While these fires are occurring and people dying, I guess Steve found it more important to get on the news to talk to CBS and ABC and local KTLA and Entertainment Tonight and the Today Show and News Nation, where Devils Wins was coined by Steve. Of course, his handlers told him to coin that because that's the narrative that they've run with now, Devils Wins. The Associated Press, driving in his car on NBC News. Don't forget the all-seeing eye of CBS News. And it goes on and on. CBS Good Morning. You just scroll through. Put Steve Gutenberg in and do a search of today or this week. And you'll just, all of a sudden, Steve Gutenberg, he's all around. He's saving people from the fires. He's warning. He wants you to know about the fires. Right now, of course, we're not saying that the fires are fake. They're clearly real, and this is clearly affecting real people. But they want you to know that they're real people too. You see, the celebrities don't want you to know that they get inside information first, and they're told what's going to occur, and they're told how to act when these events occur because they're CIA operatives, they're government operatives, and then they all go out on TV, and they start doing things like I'll show you with James Wood in a minute, where James Woods goes out and talks about his home burning and then blames it on Democrats and Democratic leadership, the same thing Trump is doing, all done by design. But they most importantly want you to remember that they're people too, and their lives are being affected because they cannot have you think that Hollywood and Los Angeles are burning to the ground while none of them are affected by this. So this time around, they burned some of their homes down like James Woods. And of course, they don't have to worry about getting homeowners insurance because the way that this operation works is that they were clearly given money for their property and told, hey, this is what's going to occur. Buy a new house here, go there, or your house will be untouched if you're so-and-so, or go to your underground bunker while it's happening so you don't get any smoke in your lungs, which I'll get into in a few minutes as well, right? And Steve Gutenberg, of course, if you don't know how, it's all right in front of our faces. Everybody knows about The Simpsons with predictive programming, right? You might remember an episode of The Simpsons which was about the Sacred Order of the Stonecutters, which was based on Freemasons. They showed you symbols like literally showed you the all-seeing eye and the compass that the Freemasons use and the pyramid as well, right? Well, part of the clip talked about how who is responsible for everything? Who's responsible for hiding these secrets? Who's responsible for conspiring? Who's responsible for the death? Who's responsible for that? And even who's responsible for making Steve Gutenberg a star? It couldn't be more in your faces, right?
Who keeps the metric system down? We do. Who leaves Atlantis off the maps? Who keeps the Martians under wraps? We do. Who makes Steve Gutenberg a star? We do. Who makes Steve Gutenberg a star?
So what a coincidence that Steve Gutenberg's mentioned. Of course, people will take it as a joke because Steve Gutenberg is not a huge star. So when somebody sees that, they laugh like, Steve Gutenberg, who's made him a star? And their wheels don't get churning in their brain because they're just like, they're making a joke because it's The Simpsons. It's supposed to be funny, even though we can find predictive programming going back to pretty much every event that's happened in the world over the last 20 years or so, including those towers falling down on the 11th day of September. But Steve Gutenberg even gets a shout out as being a member of these secret societies and who made him a star. But of course, we know just by Steve's last name why Steve Gutenberg is famous. And the other one I want to talk about before I get into all these celebrities, right? Because you're going to see here a plethora of these celebrities coming out looking for your support. Of course, remember, they want you to think that they're affected too. Their lives are turned upside down too. Because the last thing they can have happen is that civilians see all these celebrities' houses untouched and undamaged like last time, and suddenly you say, okay, we need to go after these people. That's enough. That's enough of the Kardashians. All these people, somehow they survive in the Palisades and all these areas where we know they have homes. Their homes didn't burn down. What clearly occurred is the government, again, said, look, the plan is we have to make this smart city operational by 2028. The plan, like I told you in a previous video about the Olympics being in 2028, a smart Olympics, openly discussed how it was going to be a smart city by 2028. And they said, look, you're part of the Brotherhood. You do as we say. We have to do a sweep of the land here. So if you own a home here, come, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pay you for your home. We'll give you cash for your home. Okay, here's your cash for your home. We're going to light your home on fire. So make sure your pets aren't in your home. Make sure your jewelry's not in your home. I guarantee you, any of these celebrities whose homes burned, all of their belongings were out of those homes. And that's why they're all conveniently alive and they're all conveniently filming their homes burning. They're not running and panicking. Steve Gutenberg is pretending to help people out. He's just jumping in front of every news camera like a crisis actor. And then James Wood decides when his house burns down that he's going to jump on CNN, who's supposedly fake news because James Woods plays the role of conservative, and he's going to tell everybody and cry about his house being burned. This is the greatest role these people take on, is when they act out in public, like James Woods did, where he was crying on CNN, right? And other celebrities, right? Like Eugene Levy, like we're supposed to believe. I mean, you know Eugene Levy. Eugene Levy, of course, he's in the he's in the club, okay? I mean, all you got to do is look at his name, right? Look at his son. His son's very famous, not funny at all. What's he famous for? Well, he's famous because he's, he has a certain preference in the bedroom. And of course, that's how this whole thing works. It's just a system where these things are just cogs in the wheel. They just plug them in. Oh, you're famous. Your kid's now famous. Nobody will question whether or not they're talented or not because they're government operatives, right? Oh, Ben Affleck was affected too, right? And again, with James Woods, for anyone out there wondering, James Woods plays the role of Republican. So James Woods always criticizes the Democrats. So the MAGA crowd loves him. So when it comes to Hollywood, as we're seeing, right, if anyone who's MAGA celebrity is affected, the MAGA crowd defends them, right? Just like if anyone shows up on that government-created list about that guy's island, everybody defends him, right? Oh, well, so Trump wasn't there. Elon Musk wasn't involved. Oh, but Tom Hanks was, right? Because Tom Hanks is a Democrat, right? These people don't realize how deep in the psychosis they are. Well, James Woods, if you don't know, was even involved in that event that happened in 2001 that I just mentioned with The Simpsons on the 11th day of September. If you don't remember, James Woods supposedly was on a plane a month before the event went down. And he was on the plane with hijackers. And then he went out and talked about how there was 4 Middle Eastern men acting oddly on his plane. Of course, that was to fuel the narrative that they gave of why that event happened, which is 100% fiction of people hijacking planes and flying them in. Everyone knows and should know it was a controlled demolition. Just go look at Building 7. Just go look at the footage. Aluminum cannot do that to steel. End of story, end of science debate, end of it all, right? But James Woods, of course, just like the guy who created Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane, they all went out around that time. And they were talking about things like this. You think James Woods was really on an airplane with 4 hijackers? He went on television to talk about this so that people got it ingrained in their mind. Oh my gosh, there's these dangerous hijackers. That's why they put all that propaganda out in the 90s to prepare you for that event where we saw all these movies about plane hijackings and Arab people hijacking planes, right? So everybody, when they made the story, could go, oh, I could totally see how it's those people. When the reality of the matter is the people responsible for it were dancing and celebrating on a rooftop not far away. Yeah, they were dancing, you know what? Bagels. Can't talk about that either. So not only that with James Woods, don't forget his movie Indictment, which was about the McMartin trial. And James Woods is one of the people who helped create the Satanic Panic. He was going out promoting this movie, talking about the hysteria and the craziness of the entire McMartin trial. And these same people in MAGA who support James Woods, they don't even have a clue about McMartin, which was actually a real event that occurred where they got caught doing this underneath the schools, tunnels to airports, where they're flying kids into the Hollywood Hills, into these mansions and doing these rituals, right? This was a real event that you don't ever hear them talk about. What do they talk about? They talk about an island. They talk about a manufactured conspiracy that the government gave them so that they can never actually get anything done or accomplished or achieved except just calling out celebrities for being involved when all the celebrities involved, Republican celebrities and Democrat celebrities. So James Woods was involved in that and slandering people who were talking about the satanic connection to everything going on there, saying those people were innocent. Of course, I've covered that so many times on the website where those schools were demolished. Underneath those schools were tunnels. These are things they'll never reveal to the public. Then let's just continue, though, with the celebrities here. So we have James Woods, we have Gutenberg. Look, we got Dane Cook, the comedian. I mean, these are people whose homes are burning or buy homes that are on fire, who are staying in their homes and staying in the area. And then their brain is just going, let me record this and put this on social media. Let me call Fox News. It's Dane Cook. I'd like to go on Fox News and talk about the fire because I want to warn people about it. Well, aren't people seeing the fires already? So why are all these celebrities running to the mainstream media news? Why are all these celebrities staying around the fires? Why are people whose homes are burning down, like James Woods, going on the news? Do you think that they're really heartbroken and torn? Do you think they really lost anything? I'm not saying that James Woods' house didn't burn, but I'm telling you that James Woods knew it was going to burn. And James Woods is playing a victim. And of course, James Woods is on television doing what? Well, he's blaming Democrats. He's talking about blithering idiots like Gavin Newsom are responsible for him losing his home, right? Keeping you stuck in the left-right, which is what Hollywood's job has become. You got Cameron Matherson. He's on Entertainment Tonight, recalling that nothing was left after losing his home. In a fire, we have, of course, Heidi Montag of, I don't know, some reality show fame. I guess in the 90s, I kind of recall the name Heidi Montag and Spencer Pratt, right? Their home burned to the ground. And what were they doing while their home was burning to the ground? They were crying on social media, right? Now, if you want to tell me that this is real, I mean, then we're talking about a real psychosis here. If the first thing that happens, if your house burns down and all your belongings are inside and you say you need to live stream on Instagram or Facebook, you need to be put in a padded room, okay? Now, obviously, these people are doing it deliberately, but if you're actually somebody out there that thinks that Heidi Montag's house burned down without her knowledge of it actually going to be burnt down and they weren't given money for their home and told, hey, go on social media, make it seem like, oh, all these celebrities' homes are burning in the ground. The celebrities aren't in on it either. See, this is just a naturally occurring event. It's not a directed energy weapon or some government-created fire. Look, the celebrities are affected too, you know? And she goes on there and she cries about her house, even though she looks like she's in $1 million home while she's filming this stuff, right? Who else did we get? Paris Hilton, Billy Crystal, right? Meghan Markle, the prince and the princess, right? Their homes. I mean, are you buying it? Are you feeling sympathy for one of the elite bloodlines, the Hilton bloodline? Mandy Moore. And of course, how could we forget about the Kardashians, right? Because the Kardashians, we were told that Kim's house was specifically in the line of fire. Khloe calls Pacific Palisades scary and fears the flames are going to grow. Kim Kardashian's $70 million Malibu mansion at risk as raging wildfires getting closer to her Malibu home, right? Well, Kim shouldn't have to worry, though, should she? I mean, don't you know that Kim has a $60 million, now $70 million home, but has a bunker underneath it? What do you think Kim built that bunker for? Well, I guess for the time period like this, where they told her to hide in her bunker to post on social media to make it seem like her house could be affected. And I doubt they would take Kim's house down. She's too much, we're talking about the high-ranking Armenian witches here. They're not going to burn theirs down. Okay, the other celebrities like Heidi Montag, those are peasants compared to the Kardashian clan. So yeah, we'll burn yours, we'll burn James Woods's, we'll give you the money, we'll give you double the property value for it. We're going to do a clean sweep of the air. We're going to put it on our smart city, go on TV, pretend like you're victimized. Don't mention anything about smart cities or how we had this pre-planned and how this fire was ahead of time. Don't mention the fact that we told you ahead of time so you can get all your stuff out of your home. Oh, and Kim, don't mention the fact that you have a bunker underneath your house. Or the fact that any of these billionaires are building bunkers and doomsday bunkers and luxury bunkers and all the words that they use to describe it. All while what? Mark Wahlberg and the rest of Hollywood have already started building studios in Las Vegas. They're already up and running out in Las Vegas. They took all those studios, right? It was all, well, you go to Paramount, you go here, you got to do it on those. So they already built them out. What do you think? They built them out because they didn't want to be around somebody who was a Democrat. So Wahlberg goes, I got to leave. I got to go. I don't want to be around these people. Oh, no, it's because they were sabotaging California. They were making mandates so people would leave. In their minds, they feel justified for doing what they did because they pretty much told you, if you stay in California, it's on you. We're making it as difficult to live and survive in California. We're literally making the prices unbelievable. We're making gas $10 a gallon. We're letting homeless people do crack in the roads. We're literally telling your kids that they're allowed to castrate yourself, that you come to our state if you want to kill a baby. We're telling you to do it all. So if you stay, it's on you. That's their mindset, right? That's how these people think. They don't feel sympathy for you. They feel like they gave you warning, right? And then you think Mark Wahlberg was like, you know what? Will Ferrell's a big Democrat. I'm in all these movies with him. But you know what? He's voting for Kamala Harris. I'm leaving the state. I don't even want to be in the same room as him, right? I'm going to build studios out in Las Vegas. No, they prepared ahead of time because they knew the smart city plan was in place. They had to burn it all down and burn all the surroundings down around it to put in new infrastructure. And eventually they'll be back in Hollywood in a couple of years, probably by 2030, to fit right with the agenda. But for the time being, they won't stop or halt production in Hollywood because, of course, they need that mind control out there. And anybody out there that's falling for these celebrities coming on television, crying and not thinking for 1 second, why are they behaving like this? Well, shame on you for not thinking, okay? Put yourself in these situations. Look for patterns. Steve Guttenberg, his home survived, but Steve decided to stay, and Steve decided to go on ABC, NBC, Fox News, you name it. I'm surprised he probably was on Sesame Street, probably on YouTube streamers channels too. And what did he go on there to do? Well, he went on there to talk about how devastating it is, how many friends of his who were actors who were affected by it, because they want you to think that they're not in on it, because they got a little bit upset about what happened with Maui. There's a reason you don't hear about Maui anymore, and it's not because, they don't want to push the climate stuff on you. It's because they realized that nobody was buying it, Dems or Republicans. And the pushback that Oprah and The Rock got, they didn't even bring up the charity again after maybe a month of going on TV and everyone's spitting on it. The Rock getting spit on, all of a sudden the most popular guy in America becomes one of the most hated. Right? He couldn't take that. Their egos are through the roof. Oh, we're not doing. Okay. So they go, well, the next time we do it, let's just make sure that it looks like a lot of celebrities' homes are being affected. Their lives are being affected too, right? When the fact of the matter is, even if they burn their homes down, none of these celebrities are going to perish. They're not going to struggle with having homeowner insurance because they were paid out ahead of time, told ahead of time, because this is how they operate with one another. They moved Hollywood to Vegas to make sure that production didn't halt. And then they're going to continue on here and act like victims, of course, because remember, when you're a victim and you're a martyr, well, you can't be questioned. That's the world we live in now. Certain people who reside in a certain land that they stole, we can't question them, or you're a certain something and you should go to jail. Can't question, poor Donald Trump's a martyr now. Nobody goes after him anymore. Oh, they tried to kill him. I mean, now the Democratic news that he's been installed in power doesn't go after him anymore, right? If you're a victim, people aren't going to question you. That's what they're doing here. The celebrities are going out of their way to show you this. They're, again, no common person, if this is happening in your life, just close your eyes and envision it. Your home, wherever you reside, your apartment is on fire. And the whole building's on fire if you're in an apartment, right? Are you running outside and looking for the local news over and over and over again? Are you doing a live stream? Are you doing a live stream 10 hours later at a hotel, letting everyone know about your home because you want to I mean, if that is legit, then that's a psychosis, but it's not legit. The psychosis is anybody out there that actually believes these actors. Remember, folks, an actor is a professional liar. These people are professional liars. They know exactly what's going on. Don't be duped. I thank everyone for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.